A South Auckland Electrical Apprentice creates a global sales consultancy firm. It started with one word: imagine. The rest was mindset, finding comfort in discomfort. In this Q&A session with Paul O'Donoghue, I discover what it means to imagine, why purpose is more important than money, and how the right mindset keeps us in check. A must-view for entrepreneurs, CEOs and sales professionals, and everyone who believes they can, but are told that they can't. Paul, you started as an electrician in South Auckland, and you built a purpose-led global sales organisation. You often say that having a big mindset takes as much energy as having a small mindset, and to not restrict yourself. When you think back to that electrician all those years ago, before all the success you've experienced today, what did you feel would have been your life? How would they have looked to you back then?
It's a fantastic question. My mind really went back to when I was probably a teenager or in my early 20s as an electrical apprentice. I certainly was a very shy individual. I didn't like to speak in public, or even if there was in a boardroom environment, I was petrified. I was probably ambitious, but really no more ambitious than kind of anyone next door.
Yes.
I thought. I started out as an electrician to. I've told you this story. I wanted to actually get into sales, and my parents said, that'll amount to nothing.
Really?
Go and get a trade. So I actually went and got a trade really to appease my parents, and I wasn't really up to much, through school or anything like that, and my neighbours were electricians, and I went, well, I'll be an electrician. I don't even know what an electrician did. But as I did my electrical apprenticeship, I realised I was actually one of the better trades. And I guess several years into it, I was 10 years on the tools, I really could see a pathway for me to have my own business,
Yes.
which I thought, naturally of course, would be in the electrical industry. But one thing that I realised about electricians is that they weren't very good at sales.
Yes.
Back in the back in the 90s, early 90s, mid 90s, the economy was tough. There were a lot of electricians out there lowballing each other, undercutting each other, and some of them weren't making much money at all. And I just thought, that's just nonsensical. There must be a better way. So because I was determined to have my own business, I decided to invest in myself and do another apprenticeship of sorts, which was in sales. So I went and found a corporate sales job as a sales engineer, and that was really my first foray into corporate sales. And after 10 years on the tools, went into sales, tried to learn as much as I could in a corporate environment to go back and don the tools on. But it's one of those things, the more I learned about sales and business, the more I knew I didn't know.
Yes.
And it was just I had more energy and enthusiasm and curiosity to learn about business. And lo and behold, I never actually put the tools back on.
Amazing. So you went to study sales and learn more about it to grow your electrical business. What sparked the change or the inspiration to then move to growing a global sales organisation?
Well, it wasn't that I jumped into sales to start a global operation. I guess there's just a series of events that actually happen and progress. And, as you're going through life, your journey, I think your mind stretches over time as to what's possible. Because certainly the question that you asked, like me as a young electrician would never imagine that I would be in the position that I am in now.
Yes.
Like it wouldn't have even come across my mind, to be honest. Like if I asked my younger self, they would have gone, what have you been smoking? This is... that's just something that wasn't in the realm of my thinking.
Yes.
So I guess the sequence of events was Went into corporate sales, ended up working for one of the top companies in the world. So Tyco Electronics it was. So they were one of the top 50 companies. And fortunately for me, I still wanted to invest in myself. And I think that's one of the best investments you can ever make right now. It's not crypto, it's not the stock market, it's in yourself. So yeah, I started to invest in myself and reading a lot of self-help books. But when I got to Tyco, I put myself through university, and I started to learn post-grad diploma in business administration.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like I was 1 year off of doing a MBA.
Wow.
Which I didn't complete it in the end because I'd already started out on my own. So this answers your questions. The sequence of events went corporate, and then I remember at Tyco, I was still relatively young, but I remember another entrepreneur said to me, because I was having a conversation, said, I've got this, the idea that I want to start my own business, don't quite know what it is. I think I might have been about 33, 34,
Mm-hmm.
and he goes, how old are you? And I told him, and he goes, it's too late, you'll never start it.
Is that right?
Yeah, I went,
Yep.
No way.
Mm.
And but I think at that same time, I'd started to feel I was part of this corporate hamster wheel,
Mm-hmm.
where I couldn't control my own destination. I really had I think I had a problem of taking orders and people telling me what I could do and what I couldn't do, and when I could take holidays and when I couldn't. Because as a child, I was army brat,
Mm-hmm.
so my dad was in the army for 25 years, and it was probably 25 years of taking orders, and I was rebelling.
Yep, yep.
And funny enough, I think a lot of entrepreneurs have come from a similar environment, right? They
Being-
just want to be the master of their own destiny.
Being told they can't do something and
yeah.
going, well, I can
Yeah.
actually do what I like, thank you very much. Mm.
Absolutely, 100%. So I did have all of those thoughts, and one day I was reading a paper, and there was this ad for become a business consultant, earn whatever it was, a couple of 100,000 or whatever.
Yes.
And I went, wow, that'll be amazing. So I actually made the brave decision to buy into a franchise system, which was a general business coaching company.
Okay.
But what I learned in that year was that I wasn't a very good generalist, and my passion really was around top line growth, sales and marketing. And there was a few things that happened while I was at university that planted the seed to start SalesStar on this journey that I'm on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, it was an exciting journey to get you there.
Yeah.
And your SalesStar has been an organisation built on purpose. And I think from the very early beginnings of SalesStar, you knew you wanted to build a brand with purpose. And I'm curious, how did that come about, and what does a purpose-driven organisation look like versus a pure profit-driven organisation?
Yeah, there's probably a few parts to that question I'll answer. I've never been driven by profits or money.
Mm-hmm.
I've always done things that felt right.
Yes.
Right or wrong. I've never chased the money. My whole mantra is, if you do right by the customer and you do right by your staff and people, things will eventually happen. So just to colour it in a little bit, I'll talk to you about that purpose. But when I was at university, the real catalyst to starting SalesStar was I was doing a franchising paper, and this lecturer walked into the room, quite a tall, elderly man. He apparently had flown in from Dunedin,
Mm-hmm.
all the way up to Auckland, and walked into the lecture theatre and went, "Here's the problem with New Zealand business owners." And I went, "Oh, this is going to be good." I was leaning forward. He goes, "We think too small.
Yes.
Don't think big enough."
Mm-hmm.
The batch, the BMW, the boat, and that's the level of your thinking.
Yes.
And then he said a couple more questions. He said, "Name a franchise in New Zealand."
Mm-hmm.
You can imagine, right?
Yes.
The usual suspects,
This is
McDonald's.
going back
Burger
20
King.
years ago?
This is going back 21 years ago.
Yes.
Yeah. And so then he said, "Where did they originate from?" USA. There might have been a UK one there, maybe an Australian one.
Mm.
But then he said, name a franchise that went from New Zealand and went globally.
Mm-hmm. You'd be
And everyone was like looking around for the answer. No one had an answer.
Yep.
And then when we looked at the front, he goes, and that's my point. And then he said this real powerful word. He goes, imagine if you could take a little brand from New Zealand and take it globally. And that was it. My mind just went, it was like, that was the catalyst to thinking globally for a start. I'd never thought of it. Like, why would I? So it's interesting how one person can really influence your trajectory in life.
Definitely.
So it was just that word imagine. So I spent a trimester imagining what it would look like to have a global business. So I'm going to loop back to the purpose question. I'm going to talk to you about the purpose and the passion, and like the vision was this global business.
Mm-hmm.
I just didn't know what it looked like. I knew what it wasn't going to be. It wasn't going to be an electrical business.
Yes.
So I started to, the purpose question was the conversation with the lecture at university with the lecturer happened to be in a sort of 2 or 3 week span. It was definitely in that trimester where I was trying to think about this global brand. I was at a friend's party and I was talking to a random stranger, having a deep, meaningful conversation. And he said, Paul, I know why you're here. I went, yeah, it's Nick's birthday. He goes, no, I know why you're here. I went, well, who else's birthday is it? He goes, no, I know why you're here on the planet.
Wow.
And I was like, that was my reaction. I was like, wow.
I'm listening.
And I'm like, okay, I'm really listening here. What do you got for me? What do you got for me? And he goes, you're here to make a difference. And I get goosebumps thinking about it because no one had given me a purpose, or I hadn't found my purpose up until then. And it really just stuck and resonated with me. And like, you know, you have one of those mind flashing moments where you look back and evidence of your life and everything that you've done up until now, really the things that get you excited is to make a difference.
Yes.
So I set out to start a global business,
Yes.
right, that I could make a difference.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of the I guess the genesis of SalesStar. And then because I was reading all those self-help books, I remember reading a book, and it sounds really cliche, you know, and this was before YouTube, obviously. So, you know, you did end up reading a lot of books if you wanted to
Paperbacks.
improve yourself, yeah. And I can't remember what book it was, but the message really was, if you find something that you love, you'll never work a day in your life.
Love it.
So choose something that you're passionate about. And I got an A4 piece of paper and I wrote all the things that I was passionate about, but all the things that I could make a difference, and all the things that I thought at the time I could commercialize. I didn't know at the time there was this Japanese thing called Ikigai. If you look up Ikigai, that's kind of the framework that I took, but without knowing that there was a framework.
Amazing. Yeah.
Right? So I actually wrote down on a piece of paper, sales. I can make a difference with sales. And I'll tell you my definition of sales later, and it'll make sense. So, and then I wrote the word training, because I like training people to be better versions of themselves. Like whether I was training people in different sports that I've done, or just in business. Just in the context of things, I spent a year now as a business consultant coach, right? And then I was fascinated with assessments, because it took me a long time to find a sales job, because everyone looked at me and went, you're an electrician, how could you be in sales? But deep down I knew I'd be really good at sales, and I was like, what did these people miss? Is there a way to assess potential salespeople to see if they would actually thrive in sales, and what type of sales role would they flourish under? And recruitment. So I've also spent some time in the recruitment industry, but again, I was more focused on recruitment of salespeople, like, you know, what are they missing me? Because, you know,
something's broken. They've just lost an opportunity because their system's not
that's right.
working.
Anyway. So when I stepped back, the 4 words were sales, training, assessment, recruitment. And I was like, that's what I'm going to do to grow a global business. And I didn't really have a definition of what type of business it was, because it sort of cut across different types of traditional industries, like a pure assessment company, a recruitment company, a training company, sort of sales. But I knew that's exactly what I wanted to do as a business concept. And then I was thinking it's quite a tongueful, the 4 words. So I looked at the acronym STAR. So that's where the STAR came from.
Got you, yes.
Because the other acronym was terrible, which was RATS.
Yeah, we don't want.
It's not
going to work. It's not going to work.
No, that wasn't going to fly. So really, that was. I had this massive vision from that. The words from the lecturer to grow a global business. So that really anchored me into thinking big. Yeah. I had a really sort of purpose behind what I was doing. Yes. And that whole passion. And that's really fueled me for 20 years. It's got me through some really, really difficult, hard times, because in business, sometimes you go through patches in business where you just go, man, it'll be just so much easier working for someone else, not having all of these challenges and risking everything. Yes. But I think if you have a bright future, it makes your present. It makes your present brighter, I guess. Yeah.
So you had a vision, you had a clear purpose, and they were driving you to get through, I guess, the challenging times. Yep. Because when it does get tough, you need your mental game. Yeah. And you've competed in Ironman. Yes. When you're a young fella, you did mixed martial arts. Yes. And you've also dabbled in the boxing ring.
That's right.
How did those experiences outside of business impact your mental game, and how has that supported you through, the tough times of business? Because it's not always easy.
Yeah, good question. One of the things, I guess, consciously and unconsciously, the unconscious bit was, I've always been a big proponent of self-development. I go back to the assessment company. So because I had part of my business was to assess and look primarily for sales-based assessments, before I started SalesStar, I actually reached out to a company after a lot of research, and I found this company called Objective Management Group. And they had done the biggest research in history of sales. That at that time they'd evaluated 1 million people. Wow. 20 years later they've evaluated more than 2 million people, and we've been a big part of that. But a massive part of their findings was that 80% of success is mindset. And so 20 years ago I started to go, well, what are the correlations outside of sales? Because to become who you need to be in the future, you actually need to really expand your mindset and your thinking. Like a lot of people look backwards, like what they see in the future is more of what they see in the rear vision mirror. It's the past.
It's the history on repeat.
It's the history, yeah, that's right. So you've got to be able to break those limiting beliefs and the some of the history that comes with you, because it doesn't necessarily serve you going into the unknown. Yes. So part of me consciously was to look at things that got me out of my comfort zone. So I know I wouldn't be sitting here right now if I hadn't forced myself out of the comfort zone. Comfort zone is a really nice place to stay, but nothing ever grows in there. So the first comfort zone was removing myself out of a corporate position. Yes. Where I had young kids, my wife wasn't working, I had a mortgage, I had to put food on the table. And so the first comfort zone was to step outside of that and to start being an entrepreneur. The second one was really about getting out there and public speaking, because I really hated it, petrified of it, to be honest. And then what I was doing at the time was consciously deciding on sports and activities, because I've always done lots of different sports. It's just deciding to choose something that was very uncomfortable. Like for example, I was boxing training, and I love the training aspect of it, but the thought of actually jumping into a ring was pretty scary. So the boxing gym that I was training at, they had this corporate fight night, and it was at Sky City with 2,000 people. You know, it was a big event, and I went, right, I'm not even. The best thing to do is just commit to it, right?
Yes.
So without thinking, I went and signed up and paid for it, like this 12-week journey.
Yep.
So, you know, I think just committing to those things really help expand your thinking. You know, you get to wrestle inside a lot of emotions, especially in boxing or public speaking. But, you know, you've got to try and draw upon yourself some of those tools of how to really manage those emotions and really show up on the day.
Definitely. I often say you've got to face your fears to find your freedom.
Yeah. And going through these uncomfortable moments, it reminded me of me when I was an electrician. One of the things I didn't realise as an electrician was how many times you'd have to climb up a high ladder. And I was petrified of frickin' heights.
Is that right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I remember, like, there was a small job that would probably take, if you didn't have to climb up a ladder, it would take you 5 minutes, but it probably took me 90 minutes.
Yes.
Because one hand was holding the rail and it was white knuckled, and the other one was trembling.
Yeah.
And, you know, you'd drop something and you'd go down to the ladder and then you'd be petrified to get back up. But then probably about a year into the apprenticeship, I was walking up the ladders and not even thinking about it. And it dawned on me how much I had changed in terms of being petrified to do this one task to now that I could do it without really getting anxious or worried about it. And I always anchor myself into that, whether it's the boxing, whether it's the Ironman that I've done, certainly some other things, like there's many examples of 100k walk and 30 days straight hot Bikram yoga.
Yes.
There's a lot of things there that I just put myself into to test myself, and 80% of it is mindset, right? So, you know, little tricks that you can have is like in the boxing, for example. I think 2 weeks before the event, Shane Cameron was fighting at the same event. And so I went and watched Shane Cameron fight, and when he jumped in the ring, I was pretending to be him. And so, you know, I could hear the crowd and I was picturing him, and, you know, he jumped through the ropes and I imagined myself jumping through the ropes. And I kind of had that euphoria of jumping in the ring and all of those, I guess, those emotions that come with it. And then leading up to the fight, you have to spar, you know, people. No
Training.
point just hitting the bag. You've got to get actually comfortable getting hit in the face, right? Just like business.
You got to be pretty fit for that game as well, because you're burning a lot of energy.
But two things that I did was one was when I was, every time I sparred, I imagined that thought. I'd lock myself into the vision of jumping into the ring. And then on the night, I switched it around. I imagined myself just jumping into sparring, which I was pretty relaxed. So I was super relaxed on the night, despite the pressure where a lot of people would have a lot of that anxiety. I was pretty calm. And so I've tried to use those techniques in business, and sales is an interesting one. We do a lot on the psychology of sales, and you know, the first sale you need to make is with yourself, because you can talk yourself out of a sale. And then the bigger the numbers or the zeros on whatever you're selling, the more it amplifies some of the baggage inside your head, some of those self-limiting beliefs. So your mindset can really get tested through selling, through business, through sports. And I think it's not really about the destination. It's about who you become through the process to get there. So so you know, I'm a very different person now than when I was, you know, 18-year-old putting on a tool belt for the first time.
Understand. So the sales process is kind of like it's me against me. You've got to have that war with yourself. You've got to go deep within yourself to discover yourself, to build your confidence, to be your own authentic self, really.
There's a lot of that. Be your authentic self, absolutely. But it's a lot of people can train to box. Right? I could teach you how to box and hit a bag, I can teach you how to hit pads, but not everyone wants to step in the ring.
Yes.
So you go, okay, well, what's holding them back? Right? And it's the same thing when we're teaching salespeople how to prospect. I can teach you how to prospect, right? I can teach you how to cold call, warm call. I can teach you how to handle objections and all of that. But if there's not a willing to actually want to pick up the phone, then you'll never do it.
Yes.
So yeah, like through our process, we're assessing the mindset of a person, whether they have the deep desire and commitment to actually want to do it and apply the training.
Yes.
Because if they don't have that, then they're not trainable.
Yes.
Yeah, because they just don't apply it. They might be really smart, really intelligent, but if you haven't got the wherewithal to actually want to execute on sales strategies, then you know the training is only if it becomes habitual, your behaviours change, and you take action. But if you can't bridge those two, then you know. Training's a waste of time.
It's sort of leaning into booking that boxing event. You know, taking the action that puts you in there, and you know, taking the action to book it, taking the action to pick up the phone.
Yep, and it's the same thing with the Ironman. It was a process. You know, I never imagined being an Ironman. Never.
Did you book it before you were ready for it? Did you?
Well, here's the strange thing was, I couldn't even run 5Ks, but what I was doing, this was about 2010, I promoted this guy called Jack Daly, and he was an Ironman, and he'd run a lot of marathons, and his goal was to run a marathon in every country in the world, or a marathon in every state. And while I was promoting him, I couldn't run 5Ks at the time, right? He stood up on stage and said, "Hey, Paul O'Donoghue just told me he's going to run his first marathon."
Is that right? Surprise!
So it was a surprise to me. You know, maybe I said to him, "Yeah, one day I will." And so he says, and by the end of today, Paul O'Donoghue will let us know what he's registered for. So, you know, it was similar principle to the boxing, where I just had to commit to something. But it was a process as well. Like I had to first run 5Ks, then 10Ks, then register for half marathons, do a few half marathons, then do a full marathon. Then I think I ran my first full marathon and went, maybe I could do a half Ironman or a triathlon of some sorts. And when I was young, I was a pretty good swimmer. So I went and registered for the Auckland Half Ironman. That was my first triathlon.
Yes, well done.
I'd never even swam in the sea, which was very, very difficult. It was really challenging. I almost failed to finish the swim length and the time allocation. But did the Half Ironman, did a few more Half Ironmans, and then eventually I went, you know what, I want to do the Ironman, because I think it was, I went and watched this guy Jack Daly finish his Ironman down in Taupo. I was running sideways. Really windy and wet, and there's a commentator that calls people through the finishing line.
Yes.
It was like, "Jack Daly, you are an Ironman." And I went, I want to hear that for myself. "Paul O'Donoghue, you are an Ironman." And so mindset into the Ironman was that I didn't have a long time to train. If you ask I did eventually get a coach. He worked with me for about 8 weeks. Most people would hit, you know, a coach would work with you for about a year to get yourself ready for an Ironman. But I thought my mindset and my determination, I'll will myself over there. It wasn't about speed, it was about finishing.
Yes.
And so on the day of the Ironman, I locked my mindset. Again, big part of mindset was how do you want to show up? What's your intentions? And for me, it was to have fun.
Yes.
Right, I'm going to have fun. So I believe you know the story. Halfway through the bike stage, not exactly on the 90K, it was the worst and the best part to fall off, because the worst being it was in front of a big crowd on the waterfront, but the best because it was a newly tar sealed road, so I didn't get much road rash, but I fell off near the drink station because it was slippery.
It's perfect.
And I smashed my arm, I smashed my leg. I was embarrassed, you know, I had to put my bike together, but in that moment I was sitting by the side of the road. I was like, wow, I just need to get up on that, and my mind was going, what part of fun is this?
Yeah.
And I went, it'll be fun if you get back on the bike and sort of bike away, and it'd be fun if you could finish it and tell a story.
Yeah.
So I really needed everything to anchor into that fun bit, because the first hill I rode up, just a massive throbbing pain down my leg. I didn't realise at the time, but my legs swelled up the next day is twice the size. I was wearing compression socks, which is good. I could put ice down.
Saved you from
and
the day.
I did tear a muscle in my abdominal, so that took a long time to repair. But what I did is went through a process of finishing the cycle, which was still another 90 Ks, not knowing if I could walk, let alone run a marathon. But I managed to get off the bike at the end and sort of shuffle a few spaces, put some more ice down my sock and down my hip, and did the marathon in 5 hours and 15 minutes. So all up, I did the Ironman in 13 and a half hours
Well
for
done.
the first Ironman. Considering I'd fallen off in a spectacular way. But then again, you know, I put that down to mindset, because a lot of people would have quit.
Yeah, absolutely. It's about taking the next step, the step in front of you, and then the finish line will come to you, as opposed to the thought about how far away the finish line is.
Just put one foot in front of the other. That's my what was going through my head at the time. To put one foot in front of the other and enjoy it, like have fun.
Yes.
So that was my mentality. There was no question that I wasn't going to finish it. But, you know, I've applied those principles across business and life. And you mentioned before, where did that mindset come to think big? So, you know, there's probably three types of mini events that built up to growing this global business. So the lecturer, thinking big. The second one was through this assessment company, Objective Management Group. I managed to go to a lot of conferences in the States and really sort of rub shoulders with industry leaders, you know, people that were really good, phenomenal sales trainers. There's a lot of Sandler trainers there. Sandler's is a big institution, franchise system in the States. A lot of coaches. And I remember after the conference, I was sitting with this elderly gentleman. He must have been in his 70s, and he said to me, "Son," he goes, "what is it that you do?" And I told him, and he goes, "Who's the best in the world?" And I was like, "That's a good question." This was before YouTube, right? You could, you know, and I really had no idea. I didn't see myself as just pure sales trainer, but there were the Zig Ziglars of the world, the Brian Tracys, who else? There was sort of more the old guard there that you'd seen videos and books. And I didn't see myself up on their league at all. And I said, "I don't know." And he goes, "Why can't it be you?" And that was like quite a confronting question, right? Who's the best in the world? Why can't it be you? And naturally, all of the thoughts inside my head were like, there's no way. I'm a kid from South Auckland. There's no way I could be the best in the world at doing this. And then he said, "Son, the only thing that's stopping you being the best in the world is in between your ears."
Wow.
Yeah. And I was like, wow.
Sleep on that.
And he go, yeah. And then he said, "Here's the thing. Someone has to be the best in the world. So my question to you is, why can't it be you?" And that, it was a great question, but it got me thinking. I was like, well, it's probably for about a 2-year period. I was like, why can't I be the best in the world? You know, that guy said, someone has to be the best in the world. Why can't it be me? And so I had to ask and sit inside this question. It wasn't just at dinner, but it was for months and months and months, until I had enough belief that, do you know what? Being the best in the world didn't mean to compete with the, you know, the institutes and the well-known brands. You just had to be a little bit different. So you have to carve out a niche, and you go, this is what I want to be the best in the world at.
Yes.
And this is what we're going to be the best in the world at. So I took my company through a strategic framework called the Hedgehog Framework. So Jim Collins, in his book Good to Great, one of the best books I've ever read, because I really built my whole strategy around his concepts in the Good to Great
The
book.
flywheel.
The flywheel, yeah. But before the flywheel, he says a lot of companies aren't successful because they're like foxes. You know, typical entrepreneurs, they see a bright, shiny thing, they go that way, then they go this way, and they go that way. But a hedgehog has one strategy, it curls up into a ball. He said, so if you can get your hedgehog tight, and you know when you're under attack, you know, you curl up in the ball, it's very, very easy not to get distracted. So there's three questions in his framework. What are you passionate about? So for me, that was easy. We make a difference by growing people to grow sales. Cool. What do you want to be the best in the world at? There's that question that guy asked me. What do we want to be the best in the world at? And so it's actually empowering our coaches to give transformational results for our clients. That's what we want to be the best in the world at. And then the third question is, what's your economic engine? So economic engine was, it's profit per coach. How many coaches do we have? What profits can we make from a coach? And recurring revenue.
Yeah.
So that's how we sort of came up with a clear strategy to tie it in with the purpose.
And Jim Collins, right?
Jim Collins,
Yeah,
yeah.
Good to Great.
Yeah.
A beautiful book. I read it myself years ago and multiple times again. And it's just it's a beautiful book to come back to.
Yes.
So timeless.
Yeah, timeless. It's you know, we're at the moment we've changed things up to looking at the EOS frameworks and models and running our meetings from Gene Wickman, the EOS framework. So that's been a good change. But a lot of our principles and a lot of our strategies still from Jim Collins, from Good to Great, that framework. It's bloody brilliant.
Yeah, great.
You know, and culturally, Southstar is really strong, and it's really governed by. We've attracted people who have the same purpose. Like, we deliberately interview people, and we're looking for what drives them, what really drives them. Why do they do that? Tell me why. I think if you ask why 5 times, you actually find out the purpose of someone, right?
Deeper and deeper.
And deeper and deeper and deeper. And usually people go because I want to make a difference. You know, I want to grow people. I want to empower people. You know, and when you get to that answer, you're starting to understand, yes, they're aligned on our purpose. And then we also interview people on our values. So, you know, our values, the first one was create raving fans.
Yes.
So, you know, give me an example of you going out of your way to make a customer happy. Do it for the right reasons, because sales can be quite, people can use it to manipulate others. That's not what selling should be about. You know, selling's about helping and serving others. So you got to do things for the right reasons. Being a product of the product. So a lot of our clients say they bought from us because of the way we sold to them.
Yes.
So we've got to turn up, we've got to keep educating ourselves, and we've got to, I guess, be an example of what we teach. The last one was, there's 2 more, team first. So we've had instances in the past where when you get A players on board, sometimes they think it's all about them. And when I'm not in the office or I'm not around, it, you know, can wreak havoc through the culture. So what was missing initially in our core values was team first.
Yes.
So team first is a massive part of Southstar. It resonates to family first as well. Team first, family first. You've got a really good team spirit. And our last core value is better never stops.
It's a continuous cycle of improvement.
Yeah, because I've been saying for a while, it's one of the unspoken core values is like Kaizen, continuous improvement. But I didn't really have a way to articulate that until I interviewed Ted one day, you know, in a business forum, and he was telling me about how he built Sir Graham Henry, how he built the culture for the All Blacks.
Yes.
And that was one of their core values. And yeah, so that really kind of resonated with me. So now we've got this framework of this purpose and values, and it really helps align all of our staff, our partners, all of our stakeholders globally. It's quite interesting because when we all get together, it's quite magical. There's something quite phenomenal about, we've got people in Sweden, UK, Mexico, the States. But when we come together, there's an alignment.
Yes.
It's pretty crazy. And I always say it's kind of like it's better than a family reunion because you can't pick your family.
Yes, yeah, you can pick your team that you work with.
You can pick who you work with, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool.
And if there's the culture of continuous improvement, that aligns to the work you do, but as humans, we're always working on improving ourselves as humans. So there's no shortage of stories of how have you continuously improved in the last 3 months or since we last caught you? What's new? And if that's the culture, everyone's moving and changing and growing.
Oh yeah, it keeps me on my toes, but I'm just wired that way. I want to continuously improve myself, improve my leadership, improve my knowledge around AI, improve my ability to really transform other organisations that we're working with, improving how our coaches are empowered to get transformational results.
Yes. Yeah, I've got an interesting question for you about when you kicked into SalesStar. How much did it cost you to invest in the business through to the point of securing your first client?
This is it's a really interesting question. So I had this concept, and in the early days, there was another coach working at this franchise system that I was part of. And he had just acquired a training company, the Tom Hopkins Training Academy. And I went, I don't have the training, official training prowess, but you've got a training academy, but I do have recruitment and assessment background and obviously sales. Here's my thinking. And I gave him the thinking of SalesStar, right? And he asked me a really, really interesting question. He goes, how do you know this is going to work? And so there's a bit of a backstory there. This franchise system that we bought into, the ironic thing, the business model was flawed and that whole franchise system collapsed. So I'm now sitting there, and invested $50,000. He invested, a considerable amount of money. I actually had no money.
Okay.
My bank account was negative. So I had $0 to spend on getting SalesStar off the ground.
You've already invested
no money.
More. You've invested more than you have
that's
kick
right.
into it.
So I didn't have a marketing budget, didn't have anything, but I just had this idea and a concept. And then he asked me a question: how do you know this is going to work? And I said, well, we just have to get out there and sell it.
Yes.
So I literally got the yellow pages out and dialed and called people, and so that's how we started with absolutely nothing. Yes. And so what did it cost me? Nothing but time. So I had to turn over a lot of stones to really get this thing off the ground. And in the early stages too, you've got a concept, you have a vision, but you haven't really nailed down the value proposition and the business model and pricing points. So there's a ton of stuff that you have to work out. But my mantra was, I'm going to get 5 clients, I'm going to over-service them, I'm going to ask them for referrals, and then we're going to grow. And so first year, 5 clients, 3 referrals each. By the end of the year, 15 clients.
Wow.
And that's where the whole notion of the core value, create raving fans, came in. Right?
Yeah, beautiful. I get it.
Under promise, over deliver people. And I think this is the essence of marketing. Marketing starts from your product or service delivery, and it starts with giving a remarkable product or service. And if people remark about it, if it's remarkable, it's referable, and if it's referable, it's profitable. Because by far, it's the most effective way to market is referrals. And before we started digital marketing, 83% of our new business was referrals. Amazing. It's still a massive part of our business right now. It could be better, but we also got a little bit lazy because
it was going so well.
There are other ways to generate leads, but that's how I started, and probably for the first 7 years, it was really by way of referrals, by way of doing seminars and workshops.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, amazing.
Yeah.
So from 15 clients year one
Yep.
to growing a global organisation, how many countries are you in now?
So we're in New Zealand, Australia, joint ventures in Great Britain, Sweden, 5 franchisees in the States, and a very good partner in Mexico.
Yes.
A coach in Canada, and a very established coach in Spain. So there's 8.
Wow.
So mix of business models, which that's another story for another day. But
of course. Yeah, definitely. And so from starting on pretty much minus zero, from the investment of the 50K to that starting back to zero, where are you looking now? How many digits are you turning over now? Where are things hitting?
Yeah, let me tell you a little bit of the back end story and I think this is a really good learn. Someone said to me once, thinking bigger is the same amount of energy as thinking small. And so I've just thought big, with no restrictions. And that can be a pro and a con. Like the pro is I wouldn't be in 8 countries today if I hadn't thought big.
Mm-hmm.
The con is I probably didn't need to be in 8 countries because I've made life complicated for myself, right?
Yes.
And, it's kind of like the Germans. Why did they lose the war? They fought too many battles.
Too many fronts.
Yeah. So I've gone through parts of that going, I'm fighting too many fronts now because cash is going out the door to fund all of these operations. And I'm busier than I've never ever been for less profits.
Yes.
So then you have that reflection of, well, why are we doing this, right? So you go back to the why and the purpose, which is noble, but you get to a stage in life where you're going, it's never been about the money, but I better start making money.
Yeah, definitely.
So I'll just colour that question a little bit by saying that in 2015, because there's some really good learns here, we were podium finishers with the assessment company based in Boston. So I'd go to their conference, and all of a sudden this little boy from South Auckland who really didn't feel like he was worthy of being in the room had become this guy that was winning all the awards, and they kept asking me to speak at their conference. And so through that process we had their partners reach out and going, well, how do you do this, and what do you do in the back end? And when they realised we had built out, from a technology point of view, we built out all of this infrastructure, video-based learning, blended ways to learn, and the main purpose around that was really to help our clients change their salespeople's behaviour over time.
Yes.
You need reinforcement, repetition, and role practice. Mm-hmm. So we started licensing our products in about 2015 with not that much success because commercially it didn't make a lot of sense. We were spending so much time trying to grow their business and neglecting our own core business. But come 2019, at the end of it, I went, you know what? The thing that we need to scale is the practice in New Zealand. At that time, we were doing 3 million with a 30% net profit, which is great little business.
Yes.
And I went, wow, let's just replicate that. And what we did was started to turn our licensees into joint ventures. So the first guy was the operator in the UK. He flew over to New Zealand 2019, just in December, and got excited, said this is the way to go, got more comfortable with the culture that we'd created and the people and the infrastructure, and went, right, I'm ready to go, signed up, and the proviso was that I'd go to England at least 2 times a year to train and coach them, and no problems. Come March 2020, what happened?
We had a big COVID.
Yep, the pandemic,
global,
right?
The world closed down.
That's right, the world closed down. But what had happened in 2015, we had also started thinking about blending our learning with video-based conferencing, training, coaching. And at that time, the technology wasn't good. So you had GoToMeeting, Citrix, and it was all very laggy, like Max Headroom. You know, you remember that? I remember saying this is where we need to head, because we had a 2-day sales training program. We managed to turn it into a 12-month program. And we needed to do that for cash flow. We needed to do that to make our clients sticky, and we needed to do that to transfer our learning, to make it really embedded into an organisation. But I remember getting arrows in my back from all of the team going, this is just hopeless, because our clients weren't having a good experience. But come it might have been 2017, 18, we started using Zoom. And it was just a game changer. It enhanced that experience of having those online coaching sessions. So much so, obviously, we all know what happened in 2020. Zoom for many people were a new thing. For us, we'd already had 2 years. We'd had 5 years of doing coaching and delivering training online. And so when the pandemic hit, we were like, this is just business as usual. All we're missing is the 2-day live start. So we just had to blend that into online learning.
Which is an opportunity during that time, because people are at home.
Great.
You know, you've got time to learn, refocus your energy while we can't be out on the road. So
now if you think about, like, all of our competitors in New Zealand went bust in COVID. They had to close shop. We went from $3 million in 2 years, and we tripled our revenue. And that was by a joint venture. We signed up the guy in the UK, Sweden, 3 in the States, and 1 in Mexico. And in such a short time. And we also started a digital marketing company, which took us over 8 figures in that time.
Amazing.
So that was a really good journey from not being able to pretty much get out of home. You know, so all done remotely, which was kind of strange, because we'd built all these relationships for a 2-year period, and we had never met anyone in person. So, you know, when we could travel, we were traveling and meeting people for the first time, going, holy heck, you're a lot taller than we thought, you know, or you're a little bit shorter, or, you know, whatever. They probably thought the same of me. But it was quite a special time, because you're actually meeting these people that you've accustomed to knowing on Zoom for the first time after 2 years. Special memories. But we won the Auckland Westpac Award for strategy and planning. Just because of that achievement through that time. So that was the first award we've ever applied for, and we won it.
Amazing.
So that was pretty cool.
So were you working with Citrix? That you were kind of ahead of the technology. Zoom came on board. The global pandemic really escalated the business. You kind of did the development ahead of time for something you didn't expect to happen.
I wasn't expecting it to happen, but my process through that time was, okay, we want to be a global company. We are now starting to have people that are interested in licensing what we're doing. I know travelling even to Australia is expensive, and it's a time suck. We started growing Australia by selling remotely. We didn't even have an office over there. Only recently we've hired people in Australia, but like in New Zealand, 60% of our revenue comes from Australia, and we don't even have an office there.
Amazing.
So the process was, I had to figure out a way to make the world smaller. Right? And I knew even flying to the States, by the time I got there, I was tired, exhausted, and expensive. So how do we shrink the world? The only way I could think about it was technology.
Brilliant.
So we had to lean into technology.
And now we're working with AI. And so I'm really curious in AI, and particularly in the sales space. Must be a really interesting time. And I'm wondering, what will AI eat up first in the sales process? And how will we become more human within the sales process? So how do we sort of think about our future in the space of sales as humans?
It's interesting. A I'll dig into that question a little bit more because a lot of people go, are you frightened of AI?
Mm-hmm.
I'm more excited about it,
Mm-hmm.
you know, in terms of, I don't necessarily think that it's going to replace what we do if we think smart. So, and I don't necessarily think it's going to replace sales people per se. Why? People buy off people,
Mm-hmm.
right? The purest AI people out there will go, no, there'll be no salespeople in the future. And I think that would probably be true for transactional products. But when it comes to, you know, when it comes to complex sales or relationship-driven sales, you still need an interface called a human.
Yes.
But that human needs to be more productive and more effective than like their competitors, and they can do that now by augmenting that with AI.
Mm-hmm.
So again, part of my gene, I guess, is you know, goes back to my electrician days, because I was an industrial electrician. I was always looking at fault finding, looking at improving processes and systems and organisations. I did my apprenticeship at Ford Motor Company. Even
Yes.
back then, I was working on robotics.
Mm-hmm.
So my natural inclination when I look at sales processes, it's process driven. What can technology do to optimize it,
Mm-hmm.
right? So the assessments, why the assessments? That was the first logical thing I could think of. When a machine, industrial machine's broken,
Yes.
you plug in diagnostic tools
Yes.
to fault find it. And I went, there must be some tools you can plug into a sales organisation. So I've gone from production machines to sales machine, plug in something, test it, see what's working, what's not working, right? There are ways you can diagnose a sales organisation and get to the bedrock of the problem. With AI, that's only going to enhance that.
Mm-hmm.
So the way I look at AI, again, sales and what we do for our clients, we build repeatable, predictable, profitable systems.
Yes.
So you go, well, if it's repeatable, and if it's something that can replace a human, AI can naturally do that.
Yes.
So what are the processes in your sales system that are repeatable that AI can actually do or better than a human? So at the moment for ourselves, I mean, you have a look at the front end of sales. We've always had a problem, and most organisations do, when they generate leads, the leads sit there for a while before the salespeople get hold of them, and then you're either trying to book a meeting. So there's friction,
Yes.
and there's the flywheel. If you talk about the flywheel, that's the first spoke that goes in, because you're trying to drive the flywheel with leads,
Yes.
and the leads don't get followed up. Clunk.
Yes.
And you go, well, how do we get rid of that spoke? And we all know there's science behind this, that speed to lead matters.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you can follow up a lead in the first 5 minutes,
Yes.
it increases your chance of actually getting the meeting by 500%.
Wow.
And the longer you leave that lead, it's diminishing returns. Like even if it's 2 days later, you ring up that lead and they go, no, I don't remember downloading that.
Amazing. Yep.
So now the first part of our process is, how can AI have a conversation immediately? You've downloaded something, boom, you've got a chatbot communicating to you,
Yes.
like asking questions and inviting you into a meeting. And if they can't invite you in the meeting, you know, now you actually have the ability to have AI agents making phone calls, which is just crazy. They sound like humans.
Yes.
You know, they never have a bad hair day. They never ask for a pay rise. They don't have call reluctance. You can train them. They never forget.
Yes.
And they can make 400 calls in an hour.
Amazing. Yeah.
So you go, well, okay, if AI might not replace humans, but there's aspects in your sales process that AI can replace. So we're leaning into that heavily right now. But also, I've made a few statements about us changing behaviour of salespeople, and you know, that's, you know, the 3 R's that I came up with was repetition, reinforcement, role practice.
Yes.
And obviously that process takes human coaches to be able to do that. And the biggest time suck is actually in the role practice. And name a salesperson that loves role practicing in front of their peers. Zero, yeah, not many. So, but we know that that's like the biggest part of learning is applied learning.
Yes.
So you learn, right? Training is about new information coming in, but actually applied learning,
Yes.
right, is about how have you taken that information and how are you changing your behaviours and applying it. So quite a hard one for most training organisations to measure, but now we've invested in AI role practice. So I should give you
I'd like to play with it.
You can go play with it, yeah. So now you can actually go in and choose who you're selling to, your avatar, and it's conversational. You can have a conversation on what part of your sales process do you want to practice. Do you want to practice your prospecting? Do you want to practice your discovery calls? Do you want to practice how you present? Do you want to practice your value proposition, your objections? And so you can practice and until you're so efficient. In fact, one of our clients, big freight company,
Yes.
biggest one in New Zealand,
Yes.
they started embracing this, and they had new salespeople start, and within 3 weeks they were going out with their very tenured salespeople, giving them a run for their money because
Yes.
they'd already had ramped up
Yes.
under every situation that they could imagine.
So then you can scale up the sales process faster, and these budding professionals can learn in the safety of their own environment.
Yeah, that's the interesting thing, and that's no one else, unless they want to share it, no one needs to see their role practice
Yes.
apart from the AI. And the
Yes.
AI gives immediate feedback. Here's the filler words you were using. Here's the key parts of the strategy you missed. Here's some things that you might want to consider for next time. And it gives you a score. Like, this is your score.
That's really cool.
So, yeah.
Yeah. I'd definitely be interested in a play on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's mind-blowing. It's bananas. So we're developing our own AI coach at the moment. So we're taking all of that institutional knowledge over 20 years in sales and sales leadership and management and recruiting salespeople. So from workbooks, videos, scripts on calls, and we're uploading it into our sales coach.
Yes.
That will be able to help you write playbooks, be able to research strategies, put a plan, a process together, help you recruit salespeople, help salespeople get ready for a sales call. They'll be able to role practice calls. They'll be able to upload recorded calls and get feedback. So I think really for me this is the future, and it's a thing that's getting me super excited.
Yeah, I can tell you're excited right now.
Yeah, really excited about it.
Yeah. For the chief executive, you've developed a 9-step framework where you can actually go online and you can assess your current sales process.
Yep.
What would a chief executive experience by going through that process for themselves?
Well, chief executives, really the buck stops at them to grow sales. A lot of them abdicate responsibility. It's my sales manager's duty or sales director or whatever. Yeah, fair enough, but at the end of the day, you're going to be judged by your growth and enhancing shareholder value.
Yes.
So, unfortunately, a lot of chief executives aren't from a sales background. They're either accountants or engineers, and they don't really understand sales. And sales can be it can be like this big complex jigsaw puzzle, and you're not really sure of which pieces are working or not. And so what CEOs tend to do is they go through this whole process of elimination. It's like playing CEO whack-a-mole. It's like, I'll change my salespeople out, whack. I'll change my manager out, whack. I'll change out the strategy, whack. I'll change out the pricing. I'll get a new CRM. And they go through this long, lengthy process of trying to figure it out, right? Through process of elimination. But what generally is missing is actually having a science-based, data-driven process. And so we've developed a strategic sales audit. So as you mentioned, we've got 9 steps that take a CEO through a process. Well, it's not just the CEO, it's the whole organisation. We go through 9 steps for a clear pathway to put a sales system in to get repeatable, predictable and profitable growth.
Great.
And so what this audit does is it's 50 questions. It takes 7 minutes, but it gives a picture of their sales organisation, eliminates guesswork, because guessing isn't a strategy, and it pinpoints exactly where they're doing what they're doing really well. But it pinpoints the things that are the bedrock of the issues that they're facing. And the issues that they're facing is they're not scaling, they're not closing deals, there's inconsistent revenue, and they don't know why. This cuts to the chase and says, this is why. In fact, what I'll do for you, Brenden, and the listeners out there, with your permission, we'll give a link to the viewers out there if they want to find out how their sales organisation is performing. We'll provide a complimentary link that they can do the audit and get the information that they deserve to make the intelligent decisions on how to scale their business.
Yeah, fantastic.
Do you know what it is? And this is kind of, it ties in, sorry to jump in there, but when I was an electrician, I realised that electricians were bad at sales, and then I realised that tradespeople were bad at sales, and then I realised that it's actually most people that are professional technicians, whether you're an accountant, architect, engineer, manufacturer, we all suck at selling. And you know, when you look at those organisations, there was a book called The E-Myth I read many years ago, and it was the technician, the manager, and the entrepreneur. But there's a fourth part that's missing. It's called the sales, because everyone systemises their business. You systemise your delivery, you systemise your accounts, you systemise your manufacturing, but most people haven't systemised sales. And that's why we, over 20 years, came up with this. There's a 9-step strategic sales system. If you implement this, you will grow your business.
Yes, sounds fantastic.
Yeah.
What's the one thing that successful salespeople turn up doing every single day that non-successful salespeople don't?
Oh, there's so many different things there, but look, if I had to pick one thing only, if that's what you're asking, sales is about asking questions, and it's about being customer-centric.
Yes.
So you've got to care more about your client than making a sale. So in order to do that, you need to actually ask the right questions on trying to figure out where your prospect is, what are their objectives, like where are they trying to grow their business or operation, and what's in the way. And when you look at what's in the way, can your solution help them? Can it help? And for us, we use a consultative selling approach, and the definition of consultative selling is enhancement of client profits. So great salespeople will look at ways where they can help their prospects be more profitable. So they're either helping them grow their top line revenue or contain costs, or both. Both are better. So, and that's the crux of why most companies aren't closing anything these days. But CEOs will still spend money if it helps them make money, right? Tick that. And the CFO who's going to sign it off will sign off if it helps them save money. So if you can help companies make money and save money, then there's a good business argument. And I would say that's the crux of selling.
It's in the questions we ask.
It's the consultative selling, and I call it a strategy. It's a strategy to enhance your customers' profits. So if you can do that, you make it about your customers, you help them make money or save money,
yes,
you'll make sales.
Fantastic. Paul, I want to wind down a little bit with some quick fire questions, if you don't mind.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep. Okay, great. So some quick fire questions for you. One sales myth you would like to kill?
Ooh, what's a sales myth that we normally...
Cold calling.
Cold calling's dead?
Cold calling's dead.
Okay.
You like that?
Yep. Myth.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely. Like, at the end of the day, people who say cold calling's dead are probably marketing guys, right, that like to hide behind marketing. But the reality is, like, most people are bombarded with digital marketing right now. Like, my inbox is cluttered full of people trying to get hold of me. But very rarely do people call me. And when they call me, I always give them the time. It's like, and like the guy in Sweden that we've got now, partner, he does nothing but cold calling, and he still uses the script that I developed back in just after the global financial crisis, because it works. You know, you're reaching out, you're speaking to your ideal client profile and having a conversation. You're cutting through the clutter to have a conversation about where they are, what their challenges are. Is this worthy of, you know, meeting in person or over Zoom?
Yeah.
It works.
Cold calling. The art of cold calling is not a myth.
No, definitely not.
Mm-hmm. One book you would revisit?
One book that I would revisit, obviously it's Good to Great.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's probably my favourite book.
Yeah. One KPI that tells you that your sales organisation is on track?
Number of presentations. Right, so there's so many KPIs in a business and in sales. I really drill it down to, like, if I can only do 2 KPIs, it's always leading in KPIs. Nothing ever happens if you don't present to someone. Mm-hmm. If you don't present a solution, and you should never email a solution, you've got to be able to control the sale by presenting it. Mm-hmm. So if you present it, you enhance your chances of closing. And then you just need to know what your closing rates are. Like, if it's 50%, do 2 of those, you'll make a sale. Right, that's probability. Yes. The second KPI would be the amount of discoveries. So in our organisation, it fluctuates between 20 and 30%. I know that's the standard globally. It's like, okay, we need 5 of those, we'll make a sale. Mm-hmm. And then 1 more, if you go back, it's the amount of conversations we're having. Yes, warm calls, cold calls.
Yes.
So not amount of dials, but amount of conversations.
Brilliant. One habit that keeps you honest?
Gym. So I find I'm a creature of habit. If I get a bit icky when I'm traveling because I get out of routine. I know if I'm training early in the morning, it gives me a good energy. Mm-hmm. I've probably had an infrared sauna for about a year. Mm-hmm. So I use that frequently, and I use my spa. And last week I bought an ice bath. So this morning,
oh wow,
you know, I had a nice hot sauna, ice bath, feeling $1 million. So yeah.
Tell me about the red light. I'm curious.
Yeah.
How does that work?
Well, the infrared, it cooks you from the inside out. Mm-hmm. So it supposedly makes you sleep better. Mm-hmm. It's good for blood pressure. There's a lot of upside with it. But the hot and the cold together, game changer. Like there's been a few days where I've actually felt a bit fatigued or a bit lacking in energy, or my mindset just wasn't quite right. Yes. But you jump out of an ice bath and it's like, wow,
fantastic,
I'm on fire. Mm-hmm. So yeah, no, I'm a fan. There's a lot of people go, oh, that's just so in vogue to do, but don't knock it till you try it. Like, it works.
Okay.
But if I had to eliminate anything and only do one thing, it'd be the gym. Yes. So whether I'm lifting weights or cardio, I just find that does wonder for my energies for the rest of the day.
Mm. Yeah, great. Thanks, Paul.
Yeah.
My last quick fire question. If I was a young person with no network, how could I start creating opportunity in 30 days?
Well, it would depend on what your budget was. So
20 years old, 18, 20.
Use your network. Mm. So have a think about what it is you're selling. So what is the value proposition? Who is your ideal client profile? Mm-hmm. Be very clear on who that person is, but be very, very clear on the problem you're helping solve. Mm. Like, what is that problem that you help solve? Then I would look at your network and your immediate network, and it could be sort of like I always say to people that join SalesStar is we're going to look at your ideal client profile, which is a business owner, CEO, and we're going to go look at all the first connections on LinkedIn, and then we're going to reach out to them with a key message. Yes, you know, and it's the message would be like, yeah, hi Brenden, like we've been first connections for a while. Look, I've just joined this organisation, SalesStar, and you know, I thought I'd reach out to see if you know of any other CEOs that are suffering from inconsistent sales results, because this is what we do. We help with strategic systems sales systems to get repeatable, predictable and profitable results.
Yes.
And on average, our clients are getting 37% growth a year.
Wow.
Do you know anyone?
Yeah.
Question mark.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the times they go, yeah, I'm curious about how you do that myself. So that's kind of how we've helped our new coaches, salespeople, partners globally
Yes.
get some traction. And so the same thing applies to a 20-year-old. It's like, well, who is your immediate network?
Mm-hmm.
Go to network events that have your ideal client profile in,
Yes.
right? Don't fish in the wrong pond. And like for me, when I started SalesStar, was doing the super uncomfortable thing, and that was speaking. I had to find someone who was a front man. One day I realized it was the guy sitting on my seat, and I was like, oh damn, this really sucks because I hate public speaking. But I had to learn how to speak in front of an audience, and this is tried and true today. We have a phrase at SalesStar that every time we speak, we make money.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Thanks very much, Paul. I think that's like premium advice for any young person, to take and start on their own direction, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for your time today. This has been fully amazing for me to experience this with you. I've really enjoyed it. Awesome. If there was anything we've missed that you want to share with our audience on their journey, now's your chance.
Oh gosh, is there anything that I know I've talked a lot in some of those questions and trying to colour in. I've also been sitting here going, oh, did I answer that question properly? But hey, at the end of the day, everything doesn't matter what you do. You've only got one life. You might as well give it a crack, and like don't necessarily listen to other people. If I'd listened to my parents, they said sales would never amount to anything. It's like, well, okay. Did I do this to prove them wrong? No, I just did it because it was a passion. So I would say follow your passion. Think about working on this thing up here, your mindset, because the reality is you can pretty much do whatever you set your mind to.
Yes. Fantastic. How do people learn more about you? How do they follow you? How do they join your community, Paul?
So yeah, we could give you some links. Paul O'Donoghue is on LinkedIn. We've just started a YouTube channel, so we can send you those links as well. And I'll forward you on my email address and contacts.
Fantastic.
If you like.
Definitely.
But yeah, don't be afraid if you listen to this and you want to reach out for a conversation. I'll give you 15 minutes of my time to see how I can help you. Maybe I can, maybe I can't, but we'll soon find out.
Yeah, that's very generous of you.
Yeah.
Thanks very much, Paul. It's been a real pleasure interviewing you today, and thoroughly
Thanks,
enjoyed it,
Brenden.
mate.
I really enjoyed that. Thank you, man.
Thank you very much.
It. Thank you.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
That was awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hope you enjoyed this podcast. Thanks for watching, and feel free to connect with me on my socials. If there's anything you'd like to ask at any time, you can also contact me on brenden.ralston@actionhq.co. Until next time, stay connected, be creative, and enjoy your day.